We work in the dark. We do what we can to battle the evil that would otherwise destroy us. But if a man's character is his fate, this fight is not a choice, but a calling. Yet sometimes the weight of this burden causes us to falter, breaching the fragile fortress of our mind, allowing the monsters without to turn within, and we are left alone staring into the abyss, into the laughing face of madness.
The other week, you're going to do screaming entrance. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to episode 70 of Most Unwanted, the X-Files podcast, hosted by me, Luke Costin, and your host across the desk,
co-host. No, just the two stars.
Just the two stars, just like Mulder and Scully.
Yeah,
it's Daniel Checkley over there.
Hi.
How the devil are you?
I'm great. I like how you've upgraded the show by yourself. It's no longer Most Unwanted, an X-Files podcast. It's the X-Files podcast. The one, the only Most Unwanted.
I mean, there's probably people out there going, yeah, all right then. Knock it on the head, guys.
Yeah, but, we got a little bit big for our boots in the last week, I'd say.
Yeah.
Ray wants to talk to you about something.
Go on.
Before we start off this glorious show.
Yeah.
Disney Plus, you getting it?
Oh, yes, definitely.
It looks incredible.
Yeah. It's annoying me now because...
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you for a few moments, but for listeners out there who maybe haven't read up on it, again, when this comes out, it'll be a couple of weeks old news, so maybe people will know more about it.
When is it out, actually?
This episode.
No, Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, end of the year.
Is it end of the year?
Yeah, November, I think.
Oh, okay, November. Okay.
But anyway, Disney Plus is Disney's new streaming service where they've obviously collected all of their materials from Disney and Fox, and they're putting it all onto a streaming service. So the idea is, I think it's £6 for us.
Will X-Files be on this? That's a Fox program, is it?
I don't know. I'll have to have a look. I'll double check.
Because I know Simpsons is.
Yeah, Simpsons definitely is. Yeah. But yeah, so it's £6 a month. I imagine it's going to translate to $3 or $4 maybe.
Yeah. I think it was. They said it was like $4.99, didn't they?
Oh, did they? I don't know. I only read the UK price. Yeah. But because it's it's nowhere near the amount that Netflix and Amazon Prime have. Well, Amazon Prime don't have anywhere near the amount Netflix do, really, do they?
It's Amazon Prime's weird. Like
every now and pay for most of it.
Every now and again, I'll go and I'll be like, "Whoa, when did that film come on there?" And it's like quite a new film, but then they don't have anything else.
yeah, it's strange. Yeah. But anyway, it's new streaming service, and they've got looking at it looks incredible. Like some of the original content that they're going to be putting out, especially if you like some of the brands they have, such as Star Wars, such as all Marvel products. Are you going to get it?
Oh, yeah. I think for The Mandalorian alone, I'm going to at least give it the month, and see what else is on there. But, yeah, the only thing that's starting to grind at me now is the amount of streaming services that are coming at us. Because they're, Disney Plus is coming. Already got Netflix. Got Amazon Prime. But, I mean, that's because we got it half price. But anyway, we won't talk about how.
How?
Methods.
Okay.
Methods.
Did you con the system?
Well, no. Categorically no. But anyway, so we've got all those. Now we've got Disney Plus coming. Apple is starting up one with some decent original stuff. Like J.J. Abrams is doing I think it's a program about the space race. Which is really, really good. Some other stuff on there as well, and it's sort of it's all adding up, and it's initially, all these streaming services were offering an alternative, to a cable package or a Sky package or something, where you were getting, it's you pay £7 and you get all of this stuff that you can watch at any time.
Definitely.
Cool. Yeah. Now, Netflix is getting stuff cut away from it, so you have to get Now TV, or you have to get Sky, Amazon Prime. You have to get
Hulu or something like that. Yeah.
If you want everything now, you're back to paying what you would pay for a Virgin or a Sky.
Yeah, I think for me, I still think it's better value.
Oh yeah,
because like you say, you used to have to pay a lot more for cable packages.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't get to choose what was on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas at least now you got the choice. I've only got Netflix right now, and that does me. Of course, you get the odd film and the odd TV show that's on Amazon Prime. And to be honest, most of the services haven't really tempted me at all. Amazon Prime, there's a few TV shows that have tempted me.
The only one I have, but it's mainly because it's part of my that I would probably pay for if I didn't have it already, would be Now TV. Not so much now because Game of Thrones isn't on there.
Yeah,
but it was basically the Game of Thrones system for me.
We used the free trial for Game of Thrones for Now TV, so you know what I mean. Yeah. It was weird. Then we just cancelled. I remember like really being bummed that we missed out on Man in the High Castle. I always wanted to watch that, and then to be honest with you, I've never heard any buzz about it afterwards, so I'm glad I didn't really go to it.
Yeah, it came about with a lot of like fanfare and then sort of died off.
Yeah. So maybe I didn't miss anything.
But I hear it's really good. Like Dean's watched it and he said it was really good.
Oh, maybe. But, yeah, I honestly, I've never given it a second thought afterwards. I think it's just a case of just picking a side and going for it.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with Netflix. I don't think anyone beats Netflix for quality and quantity. And I think until they do, I'm quite happy with that. Of course, if you've got another one, like you said, I know you get Amazon Prime for like use of Amazon as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Amazon Prime's good for if you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon.
Exactly.
Sound like I'm advertising for Amazon.
But no, if you've got that, fair enough. It's great to have, but I've never really felt a need. And to be honest, for like £7-8 a month, I think it's just perfect for us. Like you can just stick whatever you need on, and it is what it is. But like for this Disney one, again, £6. Oh, there's tons I want to watch. I want to go back to my childhood and watch all the Disney TV shows. You know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds stupid, but if it's free and I can watch Phineas and Ferb for 10 minutes, great. Like, it just sounds amazing. Star Wars Rebels is on there as well.
Yeah, all that.
Gonna be great.
But as daft as it sounds as well, like I mentioned Simpsons, there's been no place to watch, unless you had the box set DVDs, there was no place to just watch Simpsons episodes online. No. And now that
will Family Guy be on there?
I don't know. I know King of the Hill is on there.
Okay.
And that's like the same kind of production. So you would assume, yeah.
Yeah. They did come out with a full list of what's going to be on there, plus more to be added.
Oh. I saw another one as well today, talking of more subscription services. Apple have got one called Apple Arcade. It's not a TV thing, but basically it's like it's a subscription service for mobile games. So like new companies all do this. And again, like if you're interested in that kind of thing, it's cool. But again, it's just another subscription. It's like I do wonder which one's going to buckle, you know what I mean, under the weight of this.
I feel like some of it's a little bit of a con, as well, because it's so easy to hook somebody in with the idea of pay £6 and you get all these games, and you never play the games anyway. It's kind of like gym memberships. I found out this week on another podcast, funnily enough, that did you know in the UK, 70% of gym memberships, people have only turned up once.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
And people are paying monthly, and 70% of the people that are paying a monthly gym membership don't turn up. I feel like a lot of subscription services get a lot of money that way. Where they sign up, and it's great for the first month. Like a game one. I've never put a game... because I know Xbox do one, PS4 do one as well.
EA's got one there.
Yeah, EA's got one. And they sound great, and the idea behind it, I can play any EA game I want, for example. Oh, it sounds amazing. I know I'd put my money on the table, I'd play it for a month, I'd forget about it, and it would just keep taking money out of my bank account.
If it's a small enough amount as well, they get away with it because you just forget, you don't notice it. Unless you're constantly checking your bills like every... And I mean, really, you probably should, but most people don't,
no,
I'd say.
It actually happened to me where... on another note, what's the book one? Audible.
Yeah.
I had an Audible account, and I love Audible. Great service, and I listened. I ordered it last year. Listened to loads of books. Got the free books, obviously.
Yeah.
Listened to loads of them. Really enjoyed it. Got a little bit worn out of books, and before I knew it, 7 months had passed.
Yeah.
And I've not listened to anything. And I'm paying £8 for the privilege.
And you can only keep so many credits as well on that.
Exactly. So in the end, I just went through and I just cancelled everything. I've got Netflix now. That's pretty much the only subscription service I have.
Do you know what? I've got some tips for you. This is Luke's dodgy tips.
Okay.
It's not dodgy, really. It's just sort of... Most subscriptions, if you ever think, oh, it's got a free trial, most subscriptions will let you sign up and then cancel it immediately and still use the free trial.
Oh, nice.
So if you ever aren't sure about something and you just want to test it, sign up and then immediately cancel it. Like that's the next thing that you do before you use it. So yeah, that's a good one. WWE Network, you can do that with. Nice. You can literally sign up and cancel straight away. So if you ever want to watch a pay-per-view, just sign up, cancel straight away. Won't get charged. Another one, Audible. They get a bit funny if you join and then try and cancel, and they'll give you a lot of like stuff. Recently, I did the same as you. I had 3 tokens, and I just hadn't used them for Audible. Thought I'm going to cancel it now. Cancelled it. Well, I used up my tokens, cancelled it, and it said, "Oh, we don't want to lose you as a customer. We'll give you £10 free credit if you stay." I said, "Okay, I'll stay." Then, as soon as I got the credits, bought something with the £10 credits, cancelled it again, and they didn't offer me anything, so I just got £10 for free.
Amazing. And
I was cancelling anyway.
That's great.
So I cancelled it because I thought, I've got enough books to listen to. I don't need another one for a while. I'll come back when...
Yeah, exactly.
They've given me an extra one, so I'll be away longer.
Amazing.
What are you doing? So yeah, you can, just cancel your stuff because they what's it?
In summary, be careful what you subscribe to.
Yeah.
But I would definitely check out Disney Plus because it looks amazing so far.
So far, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of what else is in there. I mean, it's all Disney stuff. If you're not interested in Disney's,
Marvel,
you know
Star
what you're
Wars,
getting
Fox,
into.
You know what I mean?
I think they own Hulu, don't they?
Yeah,
Disney?
they do. Yeah.
Yeah, I only found out that today because somebody on another podcast I listened to went to D23, the Disney Expo.
Yeah.
And they said when they walked in, there was loads of costumes for The Handmaid's Tale, and they were like, "What? This isn't Disney, is it?" And they were like, "Yeah, this is Disney-owned property." And it's like, this is very different. I don't think I'd show this to my kids. But there you go. They have a lot now.
Yeah, you do.
And on that note, do they have the X-Files? Who knows? But we will find out.
We have the X-Files.
It's a bit grotesque in the stuff that they own, isn't it, Disney?
Yes, it is. Funnily enough, that's the title of this week's episode, isn't it, Luke?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And now, on with the show. So, this is episode 14, entitled Grotesque. Or episode 14 of series 3. It was directed by Kim Manners, written by Howard Gordon, and the original air date was February the 2nd, 1996.
Yeah.
Any notes before we start?
No, let's get straight
into it. So we start at the George Washington University, and we see a life drawing class, basically. There's a male nude model.
Oh, hot buff guy.
Well, a quick note before we carry on. I started watching this at my desk at work. right as quite a senior person walked past my desk, and I was like, I was on my lunch, like I wasn't doing it as I was working. But I'm there trying to snack on French fries, and then there's a butt in my face. I'm like, oh, God.
It could have been worse. Could have been a banana.
Could have, yeah. You'll never see that face, people listening to this. Anyway, we're at this life drawing class, and we see a very... Oh.
I know you're going to go straight to that guy. Did you see the first drawing it pans out on?
No.
This little tiny head on this big old body.
I didn't see that.
It was the best. Like this. I mean, this basically like this Tarzan of a bloke. This perfect specimen.
Look like Fabio, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like long, gorgeous locks, and it pans out. And it's just like this little tiny head with like big hair and like this massive body. The funniest painting. He is not passing that course.
Well, he's got a lot of time to practice. Well, no, yeah. He
hasn't.
He hasn't, yeah.
If anyone hasn't finished the drawings, they're ruined.
We see a very intense looking man who we later find out is called John Mostow. And he appears to be doing this, drawing. Oh, we don't really see what it is at first.
You know it's not going to be of the guy.
Yeah. So it's... We pan round and we see that he's drawing what looks like a gargoyle or some kind of monster.
Yeah, like I immediately thought it was a demon or something.
Yeah, something like that. He breaks his pencil as he's doing it. Goes to sharpen it with a knife. Could have just used a sharpener.
No, I think artists have to use like a knife. Yeah. It looks cooler, doesn't it? It looks a bit like Jack from Titanic.
Yeah, I guess.
I always wanted to be able to draw like Jack from Titanic. With his like pastel kits and stuff like that. Oh,
you got it. Why not? Start now. Learn a new skill.
Have you seen my drawing?
Quit your job.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, you convinced me. I'm going to quit my job tomorrow.
That's tenacious D. So
yeah. I'm going to be a full-time artist and podcaster.
Give it 2 years. And if not, you failed.
I'm pretty sure Jem could support me for at least 2 years while I attempt to crack. Should we take our podcast and try and crack the
what would be the funniest thing? Probably not funny for Jem. If you actually did do this, but Jem never found out until this podcast came out. as she mentioned before, she listens to it in bed. She'll be just sat next to you, just turn around and be like, what? Hi, Jem, if you are listening.
I wonder why you haven't been to work the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, you've got a lot of time off. Anyway, yeah, so he tries to sharpen his pencil with this knife. He cuts himself, obviously. Should have used a sharpener.
Yeah,
safer. And starts using the blood to add some blood red colour to the eyes of this gargoyle. Bit of a strange start. I
don't know why he just didn't do this at home. Why did he come to a life drawing lesson to draw this?
Boring, isn't it? Get out more. Meet new people.
I'd like to do a life drawing class.
As the model or as the drawer? The drawer, also known as an artist.
Both.
Yeah.
I'd like, not at the same time. I mean, that's just me looking in a mirror, you drawing myself.
You're exaggerating parts here, Church.
Touche, sir. Touche.
We then see later on this model after the class is finished. He's going to his car at the end of the night with this creepy noise in the background, and as he looks and goes to go back, he notices that the lock on his car door's been jammed. And as we look
with a pencil,
was it with a pencil?
Well, like those like chalk pencil things, yeah.
And as he looks back up, he looks into the window, and we see behind him is this sort of monstrous looking figure who jumps on him, and he's carrying a knife. And we later find out that he gets killed in a horrific way as well. Yeah, all the deaths in this episode, like I was surprised they showed it. It is quite extreme, especially later on. Some of the artwork that's in it, like some of the clay, the people under the clay, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, it's the kind of effects that films like Saw use. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I'm surprised it was used on sort of just daytime, well not daytime, but like early evening television. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very impressive, all the effects.
I always find it surprising how dark X-Files can get.
Mm-hmm.
It feels to me like it was quite boundary breaking in terms of what you can get away with.
I would definitely agree with that, yeah.
But I mean, people who watched it at the time let us know, was this uncommon for the time? It seems like it would be.
From what I've seen of shows from that era, I don't think I've seen anything that goes quite as dark as this.
Yes, definitely. The next morning, we're at Mosto's apartment. His alarm goes off, and the next thing we know, the FBI are breaking his door down. They come to arrest him, and this is the first time we meet Agent Bill Patterson and his partner, Namehauser. I forget his first name. It does come up later on. But as they carry him away, he bites one of the police officers, or he bites Namehauser.
Yeah.
Which I thought was going to come into play.
It doesn't really, does it?
No, they bring it up later on. I think it's meant to throw you off the scent.
Yeah, like a bit of a throw you through a loop. I think.
What do they call it? A red herring, is it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of gargoyle drawings in his flat. So
where does red herring come from? Sorry to derail. Is it a fishing term?
No, it's from like a not a thriller, a detective like novel. It's a literal red herring was in there, like as a clue. And it was just to throw people off the scent, so it's now known as a red herring.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what the book is. It might have been a Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, the famous detective.
It might have been a Sherlock Holmes.
Tell you what, you continue and I'll have a quick look for you.
Okay. There's a lot of gargoyle drawings in his flat. similar to the ones that he'd been doing in the class.
Well, tons, absolute tons. Honestly.
Yeah. And Patterson also finds the bloody knife in his toolbox. So it seems like we've got our killer. We go to the intro. We come back. Well, before this, what do you think of this opening, I guess?
Yeah, I was interested to see where it went.
Yeah.
Again, like, I think we breezed over a little bit, but we do get the sense it's about gargoyles because they do keep on these lingering shots of gargoyles on the street watching over the characters.
Yeah.
And so I was interested to see how they used that and where it was going to go. But yeah, they didn't really have much information to go on just yet.
But yeah, after the intro, did you find out what the red herring was from, by the way?
I did, yeah, but I think I found out before the book that you was on about, because it says here that it originated from a news story by English journalist William Cobbett in 1805, in which he claimed that as a boy he used a red herring, which is like a cured and salted herring, to mislead hounds following a trail. The story served as an extended metaphor for the London press, which had earned Cobbett's ire by publishing false news accounts regarding Napoleon.
Okay. What was the book it was from?
I'm trying to find that out now.
Oh, okay.
But I can't find anything.
That's where I've always heard it was from anyway. But anyway. I think I did one of those, do you know when you hear a phrase and go, what is it actually from? And you just Wikipedia it.
Yeah, it's like a William Cobbett journalistic story, I think.
Oh, okay, it might have been that then, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so we're in the X-Files office now after the intro. And we see a mugshot of Mostow on this slide projector. We get the scoop from Mulder.
John Mostow, an unemployed house painter, divorced, no children. He came to the U.S. from Uzbekistan during Perestroika. Failed to mention on his INS application that he spent the better part of his 20s in an insane asylum.
He was arrested last week for the serial murders of at least 7 men.
You thought all they produced were great hockey players. The crimes took place during a 3-year period. All the victims were male, aged 17 to 25.
Was there a signature or a defining M.O.?
Well, according to the ME, there was no evidence of any sexual assault. Death was caused by massive blood loss due to facial mutilation. He also reported that the wound pattern on all the victims was identical. It's all there on page 3.
He said that the majority of them died from blood loss from their faces alone. That's horrendous, really, when you think about it.
The amount of damage that he must have done to cause
definitely.
that. Scully's quite shocked by the pictures as well of some of these, so it doesn't really show you what it is. We just sort of see it.
Well, we see it later, don't we?
Yeah. Mulder claims that the killer said he was possessed, and apparently Skinner has asked them to look into this case. And we also find out that they're being called in because there was another killing that happened that fit the exact MO.
Despite the fact he's in custody.
Yeah, exactly. So, and all of the details of the killings were private and confidential. Yeah. So they suspect a copycat, but they don't know how.
Yeah.
Basically. We then follow them going to the Virginia Correctional Facility, where we meet Mostow. He hates the light as soon as they turn it on. And one thing that I noticed throughout this episode is the lack of light in it. It's quite a dark episode.
It really is. I struggled to see most of it. It was very dark. I don't think it had any relevance. I think it was just to try and show that he'd been in there a long time.
I think it was just to show that it was, well, it just felt like a darker toned episode.
Yeah.
So they probably just played with that with the lighting.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
We see that he's drawn a sketch on the floor, another gargoyle by the look of it. And he starts getting a bit cryptic in his description of this. He says that all men know its name. Not really spelling out exactly what it is, but it's sort of hinted at that it's a demon or
the devil.
Devil or something like that, some kind of like paranormal force. I do like that throughout this episode, they don't really hit you over the head with exactly what this thing is meant to be.
Yeah.
Or if it even actually exists at all.
Yeah, the way I read it, again, jumping forward, but the way I read it was there's no supernatural element to this. Mm-hmm. It's more, I think this guy's just crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, later on we find out that it's just a sort of, basically sort of a faltering of your mental state that's causing it. I don't think it's actually supernatural, which I always enjoy when it goes down that path, and I do like the fact that they show this monster in brief sort of blurry shots.
Yeah.
But for me, I see that as what they think's there. But then when they actually sit there and look at what's attacked them, they realise it's not a monster. Do you know what I mean? I like that.
But again, same token, you could easily read it as the other way. As
of course,
maybe they were. So yeah.
It's up to your interpretation.
Yeah, I love that ambiguity to it. But yeah, I mean that's more played for the rest of the episode. So he says that they're fools for not seeing what they're doing to him, and he's also quite shocked when he hears that somebody else has died, and he thinks that somebody else has been possessed by this thing. Patterson comes in and then asks to speak to them outside. He starts to mock all of Mulder's theories.
Yeah.
To which Mulder says that despite all of this psychological, he seems to care about people's psychological states. He actually says that he thinks Bill is a bit mean-spirited.
Yeah.
Bill also says, and this comes into play a bit later on, that he's worked on this case for 3 years. And he doesn't want it thrown away, basically.
Yeah,
with these theories.
And straight away, you can tell there's a history between Mulder and and what was his? Sorry, there was a name.
Bill Patterson.
Patterson, sorry. Yeah. There's definitely this history between them. Yeah. It's almost like this hatred between them as well, because from Mulder straight away, you can sort of see this sort of. He's less patient.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like he doesn't. Usually, he can take people's sort of skepticism on the chin. But not with this guy. No, he attacks back straight away.
And yeah, it seems like he doubles down on some of it as well, which we get to we'll get to later
on.
Yeah,
we'll get to that. I have a few issues with that side of things in this episode, but we'll get to that in a bit.
And Mulder also goes on to say that gargoyles are typically known to ward off evil spirits.
Yeah.
That's their purpose. We go back to to Mosto's apartment. We're in the hallway outside, actually, and Mulder goes on to briefly explain the history between him and Patterson, explaining that Patterson never really liked him because he didn't, in air quotes, worship him.
Yeah.
We also get this cool line from Mulder.
Patterson had this saying about tracking a killer. If you wanted to know an artist, you had to look at his art. What he really meant was if you wanted to catch a monster, you had to become one yourself.
Which becomes quite...
Yeah, echoes what's going to happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you don't know how deep that actually hits, but I thought it was quite.
Yeah, to be honest, I hadn't even thought about it until you just brought it up, and thinking about it, it does echo quite nicely towards what happens.
They go into Mosto's apartment, and as they're looking around, a cat jumps out at Scully, makes a jump. She said that. Weird line. She said that she thought it was coming out of the artwork.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess. You see all these creepy pictures, I guess. Maybe it starts having an effect. We see the cat go into a hole in the wall. And behind this hole, we find a door that leads into a secret room. Scully's a bit creeped out by it. Sort of says we should hold up and wait till we can get some light. But Mulder's there with his trusty tiny flashlight.
It's such a tiny torch.
They head in, or he heads in specifically, starts looking around, and we see a lot of these clay sculptures of gargoyles. Mulder sort of gets a hint and starts to peel off the clay on one of these gargoyles, and inside we find a dead body.
Again, great imagery.
Yeah,
it looked really good. Looked really scary. Just a really creepy scene to watch.
We then cut to a man who is blowing glass. We see a shadow enter the room and basically attacks this man and hospitalizes him. The shadow kind of looks a bit like Nosferatu, the way it was filmed, like with the big long shadows extending out to the door. Yeah. I got Nosferatu vibes from it anyway. We cut to the hospital where this man who's been attacked is now in intensive care. He's had his face all carved up. And Scully finds out that Scully reports to Nemhauser that there were 5 dismembered bodies in this room. And Nemhauser goes on to sort of explain that all this grandstanding by Patterson and Mulder is basically because Patterson has quite a lot of respect for Mulder and would often talk about him, especially after a few drinks, he says. And he actually requested that Mulder
he heard rumours that he requested, didn't he? He requested it himself, that Mulder comes on the case. Which didn't, when I was watching it, didn't make sense. I was just like, why would you request it and then hate him for it? And then again, it does all come full circle at the end.
When you get to it at the end. Scully brings up that Nemhauser got bit. And at this point, I thought, he's going to be the killer.
Maybe he's more involved,
Yeah, and I thought it was some kind of like demonic possession through there. Like Wreck.
Yeah, we talked about that last episode.
Yeah.
Angela Vidal. That's the character's name.
Yeah,
that's the way she says it. It's quite cute the way she says it.
I thought it was the actor's name.
Oh, did you? No, it's the character.
The guy in the background then goes into a fit and they're asked to leave.
Yeah.
We then cut to Mulder, who is sat in the library, and we get this big Mulder speech about gargoyles.
The name is from the French, gargouille, the name of a medieval dragon which prowled the river Seine, whose horrible image became the symbol of the souls of the condemned, turned to stone, or of the devils and demons of the underworld spared eternal damnation. The embodiment of the lesser forces of the universe who inspired dread and the threat of our own damnation, ushers into hell or into the realm of our own dark fears and imagination. For over 1,200 years, the grotesque image has found its expression in stone, clay, wood, oil, and charcoal. Born again and again, as if resurrecting itself by its own will through tortured human expression, almost as if it existed, haunting men inwardly so that it might haunt mankind for eternity. As it must have haunted John Mostow. But what impulses moved him to kill? Could this be the same dark force at work? Its ultimate expression, the destruction of the flesh, of the very hand that creates it? Is this evil something born in each of us, crouching in the shadow of every human soul, waiting to emerge, a monster that violates our bodies and twists our will to do its bidding? Is this the monster called madness?
And he gets so into his own words that he falls asleep, to which then Patterson comes in and grills him for falling asleep on the job. And he basically asks him what he's doing in here when there's a killer out there. He says he's wasting his time. He doesn't believe any of Mulder's theories that he's got. And he thinks, or he says this to him, that he thought after all this time he would have changed. He would have got his head out of the clouds, basically. Mm-hmm. And then just storms off angry.
Yeah.
And at this point, Mulder looks outside all intensely. And we see a gargoyle outside, seemingly looking at him.
Yeah, all the gargoyles in this episode appear to be looking at the characters.
Yeah.
But to be honest, again, this could be completely false. But aren't gargoyles meant to do that? Meant to look like they're following you? They're designed like that way, aren't they?
I thought it was portraits, wasn't it, that did that? I don't know. It might be both.
Yeah, mate. I don't know what. I've got it in my head somewhere where the whole point of them is they're meant to look as if they're following you around the building. Like guards. They're essentially meant to be sort of guards of whatever building they're on. So, could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
They also... the other thing I know about gargoyles is they help hunchbacks if they live in churches.
They do, yeah. Specifically in France.
Specifically in France, yeah.
Yeah. Not anymore, though.
Fucking hell. Was that Notre Dame fire joke?
That was a Notre Dame fire.
That's dark.
No one died, did they?
What?
Sorry, from the spirit of Paris.
Yeah, one of the greatest buildings in the world, but yeah.
What? Amazon, I'm coming for you next. The Rainforest, not their video service. I still need to watch X-Files.
Yeah, you've only conned them out of so much money. You've already done them enough damage.
I'm basically like Brazil.
God, what else are you going to go for? Oh my God.
Who else can I slam?
What about the pyramids?
I don't know, beef with the pyramids.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay, that's good.
All right. I've never been, though.
Yeah, it's only places that you've been that you're disappointed in.
I've never been to the Amazon. or Notre Dame. Places I've watched on TV. Oh, I've watched stuff with pyramids. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe just stop attacking,
Whatever landmarks of rubbish. Go on, what's the worst landmark, would you say?
The worst landmark that I've visited myself?
Just one that you think isn't that great.
Okay.
You don't have to have visited it.
I'm trying to think of the Seven Wonders now. Apparently the Great Wall of China is not great.
That's from Carl Pilkington, though, isn't it? I'm thinking of all the Seven Wonders from the Carl Pilkington perspective, and he just didn't like any of them, did he?
It is essentially just a big wall.
Yeah.
Which, I suppose, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Call me controversial, but all the great buildings in the world tend to be great for a reason. Because they're kind of great. So I'm finding it difficult to say. And I'm a big fan of architecture as well, so I'm finding it difficult to think of a bad one. You know what? I'll tell you what, one that I'm not that interested in. Stonehenge. Not that bothered.
See,
not that bothered about it.
This is where I'm interested because of how old it is. Same with Hadrian's Wall, sorry.
Yeah.
I imagine it's really underwhelming to actually see, but I imagine...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I imagine you have to sort of think, what would it have been like back in the day? Because it's so old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With Stonehenge as well, it's the mystery of how the bloody hell... How did it end up here?
Yeah.
But then would it be, once you get there, you go, wow, it's kind of boring after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Somebody made a point about this on, they've been talking about space holidays recently. And there's talks that by 2030 we'll have this is bullshit, by the way, I don't believe this at all.
Yeah.
2030 we'll have a hotel in space, and they've already started plans to build one. And they said that they're going to have all facilities there, such as a
zero gravity pool.
Yeah, something like that. This, that, and the other, and a cinema. And somebody went, "What? Why would you go all the way to space to watch a film?" But they made a good point. After about 10 minutes, you've probably done everything you can in space.
Good points.
Yeah, look at the Earth, wow. Look at the Moon, wow. Okay, what should I do
then again, I can sit under the stars for hours. I can.
True.
I'm absolutely transfixed by stars. And just before we get back to the show, you talking about being maybe being underwhelmed when you go to a place like this. Mm-hmm. Maybe I would like Stonehenge if I visited, because you could say that about the pyramids as well. Essentially, it is just a bunch of bricks on top of each other.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, you got the story behind it, but to physically see it. But I was in awe. When I went, I've been lucky enough to stand right below the pyramids. I've actually rode a camel past the pyramids.
Yeah, that was a story. We'll save that for another time.
Yeah, it certainly was a story. But I remember just being in awe at the pyramids and just wanting to just keep looking at them. You know what I mean? It was quite incredible. So maybe once you're there, you get the atmosphere of the building as well.
I'm weird like that. We went to a museum recently. I was just one in Birmingham, and they had the littlest exhibit about stuff from ancient Iraq and ancient Iran, which if you look into history, that's basically where the first civilizations came from.
Yeah.
So there's a clay pot from Sumeria, and it said something like BC 10,000, and this is
Christ.
Tash was like, it's just a pot, and I was like, that's 10. That's
you can't wrap your head around
12,000 years old. That is and it's somebody made that. That's I couldn't believe how old it was.
I know what you mean. You just can't wrap your head around
when
it.
something gets so old that it's it's just that blows my mind. Even if it's something simple as a pot, you know what I mean, that, it just becomes amazing to me. But yeah, here I am slagging off Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's a good point. So
anyway, that was a bit of a tangent.
It certainly was with your senseless attacks.
Anyway, we go to Mulder's apartment, or Scully goes to Mulder's apartment, more importantly, and inside we find a lot of gargoyle pictures.
This is where my problem with this episode lies, for the most part.
Yeah.
I said this to you before we started the show, because we usually just sort of have a quick 30-second recap of what we thought, didn't we, before we start?
And then have to repeat everything that we've just said.
Pretty much, yeah. But I remember thinking to myself when this scene came on, and for the scenes after this, he goes from normal to crazy really quick. Yeah. I know he's not technically crazy, but he what's the word? He's sort of he becomes obsessed with this case, and like to a point where we've not seen him this obsessed, or at least not this crazy about a case. And you don't see the transition. Like, it doesn't feel like he's warranted this, because it's not. You've not seen like days where he's not got any answers or whatnot. But all of a sudden, like, he's absolutely obsessed with this case.
Yeah. And
it turns out, well, to my interpretation, it turns out not to even be a demon or anything, not even to be an X-File. So, yeah, just really strange. And I found the rest of Mulder's arc in this story just a bit unwarranted.
Yeah, it does seem like not out of character, but a bit like...
It feels rushed.
Yeah.
It feels like we jumped forward in time, and it just didn't feel like deserved for me, do you know what I mean?
The way I sort of understood it, and the way I didn't feel like I was as harsh on it, and to be honest, I kind of did like this episode. So the way I saw it was that meeting Bill again sort of triggered this like sort of reaction.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
Because everything they said about becoming a monster and having to like follow these methods, I felt like he just doubled down on what he needed to get this done, to prove his point.
Yeah,
basically.
And to be fair, looking at it in from that light, I can see that point. Mm-hmm. I think I'd just like to have seen the process a little bit more.
Yeah,
I'd have liked to have seen him draw the first picture, rather than all of a sudden he's got them all over his walls. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just... Yeah, I'd like to have seen more of the process, I suppose. But it's not a major critique, it's just... Yeah, something that I noted.
I quite like this though. I think this is probably the first episode that we've disagreed on quite a lot.
Yeah, I think so. We've got different opinions on this one.
Our first milestone, this is.
Yeah.
Well, not our first.
And to be fair, like, I really disagree with you taunting all the French people.
Well, I had nothing wrong with French people.
Oh, you're backtracking now, aren't you?
No. I got a problem with the buildings. Nothing wrong with the people. I'll double down on the stuff I don't like. Never been to Amsterdam. To Notre Dame.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
I'll never know.
It's still there. Apparently it's doing alright, to be fair. Yeah, you know, I was actually quite upset when Notre Dame went up in flames. Because that was the bill... Me and my... then girlfriend, well, she's still my girlfriend now, she's my fiance now.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, my then girlfriend visited that building on the morning I asked her to marry me. So it holds quite a special place in my heart. So when I saw it on TV, I was actually quite upset, and it just felt like it was something that we couldn't visit again, do you know what I mean? Even though it turned out it's going to be fine, let's be honest, it's a building and it's going to be fine, they're going to rebuild the roof and it's going to be safer. But when I saw it, it was kind of a weird feeling that I couldn't really put my finger on. Yeah.
See, I saw a lot of people saying like similar things, but it was one where like I could understand why people are upset, but because I had no personal attachment to it myself, I sort of... It sounds really callous saying this, but I wasn't like moved at all. Like, you know what I mean? It sounds bad, but it was just because I didn't have a personal connection to it.
Yeah, of course.
If I lived in like Paris, or like I said, if I had some kind of story around it, then I probably would have. But
yeah,
I don't know.
This is a weird episode. Why are we doing so much on Notre Dame? I don't understand.
Gargoyles.
That's where it came from. The only gargoyles we know, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
These ones don't sing.
They
That's
don't.
the problem.
I'm very disappointed in it.
You know what, I've never... Talking of... Let's get all the cards on the table.
Okay.
Never seen Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney film.
Oh, it's my favourite Disney film.
We were going to watch it the other day, and then we were suggesting to watch it on the Sunday. Sorry, this is the full life of us. And Beauty and the Beast was on channel ITV2.
It's much better than Beauty and the Beast.
I know, but just a Disney film was on. So
you like it. It's quite dark.
I hear it is, yeah.
There's a whole song about rape.
That's quite un-Disney.
It really is, yeah. Like it's quite an unnerving song. It's insane.
Anyway,
on
with the show.
Jesus Christ.
We go back to Mosto's secret gallery, and Mulder's looking at all the sketches, and he starts to make a clay sculpture of a gargoyle. At this point, I thought, I wrote down, is he actually possessed, or is he becoming the monster?
Yeah. And again, I think a lot of this is another red herring. It's meant to try and figure out... You all the way through the episode, you're trying to figure out who's doing these next things. You know it's going to be one of the characters. In a way, I kind of figured out who it was going to be by the person who it was least obvious to be. Do you know what I mean?
Usually isn't it, in those things?
Well, yeah. I think like whenever you've got one character that's sort of suspiciously quiet while all the other characters are going a little bit crazy, it just sort of signals out.
Yeah.
Like the bells of Notre Dame through Paris. Like, it's ringing in your ears. So, yeah. Let's carry on with the episode.
Mulder then wakes up in the secret gallery after he's fallen asleep in there. It's 3:40 a.m. is what it notes. He hears a noise, and there's a man in the room with him. Mulder gives chase, but he gets attacked by this person. He manages to slash one side of his face, and he sort of falls off a balcony as well. And the figure gets away.
And it's without a doubt like a monstrous figure. You do see flashes of its face, and it's definitely like some sort of gargoyle demon type thing.
The part where he's walking around like the top, is it gantry or whatever it is on the top, and he's holding his gun in the air and sort of like going through stuff. It reminded me of that Lemmy sketch with the "I'm your worst nightmare." Yeah. It reminded me. So it was like the setup of it. I think that's where it's taking like bits from. It's like these like 80s and 90s shows, but it just made me laugh watching him do it. Later on, an ambulance has been called for Mulder. Scully's talking to him as he's been bandaged up, and she asks why his phone was off. And he basically says that she wouldn't understand. We find out that he's been missing for 2 days.
Yeah.
This is quite a long period of time. I didn't realise that so long had passed. Mulder explains that the person who attacked him wasn't a person. And he has a line in there where Scully basically says that he's only seen what he wants to see. And he says, what makes you think I'd want to see that? And we can tell at this point that Scully's becoming concerned, that he's becoming obsessed with this case and this monster, basically. She tells Mulder that Patterson had actually requested him via Skinner to work on this case. And Mulder just, at this point, leaves and goes off. Doesn't say where he's going. Scully goes to speak to Patterson and wants to know what his game is, basically. What is he up to? And Patterson says that he wants to close the book on this case, and he needs Mulder's help. And he basically says, just let him carry on, let him do what he needs to do. Yeah. You won't be able to stop him, even if you want to. And then they leave. But before Scully goes, she notices that there's a blade in a police officer's car, basically.
Yeah, it's like a tyre, wasn't it?
Yeah, in their tyre. Underneath, there's the handle as well, and it's all been broken down, so she collects the evidence. We see Mulder, who's gone to see Mosto back in his cell, and he asks why he wasn't killed by this creature. Why did he keep him alive? And Mosto basically says he's not going to help Mulder. And he says that he's not going to be able to find it. Mulder punches him in the face. Yeah. And he's
really unhinged.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Just completely unhinged at this point. And it's like, it's been 2 days. Like, where's this come from?
Yeah, it is. I do know what you mean. It does seem like extreme, but again, maybe this is all that becoming the monster thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Can you get away with becoming a monster? I don't know. Like... Surely if you punch someone in a cell, that's, I don't know, somebody's writing a report about it.
Yeah, you'd think so.
He says that, as he mentioned, he says that you can't find the monster, but he says the monster, or whatever this is, it will find you, or maybe it already has. Again, some more sort of trying to make you think that this was Mulder who's involved in this. Another point that adds to this is we then go to one of the science labs, the FBI. Scully's with a technician, and basically she says that she's found a fingerprint on this knife. Yeah. And the fingerprint matches Mulder's. She finds that she then goes to the evidence room and finds that the murder weapon used in the other killings by Mosto is actually missing.
Yeah, so he's taking it out.
And it does say that Mulder was the last person to look at it. Skinner requests that she speaks to him.
This was a strange scene, wasn't it?
Yeah. She goes to Skinner's office. Big Skin, as I like to call him.
That sounds really wrong. Skin.
I'm going with it.
Oh, Big Skin.
Big Skin.
I love Skinner. It's been a long time.
Yeah. What was the last episode with Skinner in there? It was the one where wasn't it the one with the Japanese embassy guy? Because I know he comes through all the smoky office.
Yeah, I think it would have been. Yeah,
I think that was the last time we saw him.
He's not been as he was quite a big player in the second season. He's barely featured in this one.
He's been in a fair few times though. Wait, he was in
maybe at the beginning of the season.
At the beginning, yeah, because he was in the one where he basically slams down the cigarette smoking guy.
Yeah.
With his, I've told all these people the story.
Yeah. That was the first two episodes, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. Then again, we're only halfway through the series, so
there's
still a lot more to go. Yeah.
Feels like quite a while ago, to be fair.
He basically explains that he knows what Scully's found out, that the evidence has gone missing, this, that, the other. He also says that he's... he asks if she's worried about his mental state, which she says she's not. And then he asks if off the record, and they both sort of don't say anything. So it's sort of implied...
Well, Skinner does say me too, doesn't he?
Yeah, it says me too, yeah. So it's implied that they're both worried that he's sort of gone over the edge on this case.
Yeah.
We then go back to Mosto's secret gallery, and Mulder's in the room with all the clay gargoyles again, and he's attacked. He gets jumped on, and we see that the two FBI agents, Patterson and Nemhauser, are standing over the top of him.
Yeah.
And the attacker, who apparently, I didn't pick up on this, apparently the attacker is Mulder, stabs Mulder.
What?
Yeah. I thought this was weird. In the actual, I was looking through later.
Mulder attacks Mulder?
Well, the gargoyle is meant to be Mulder.
Oh, okay.
I didn't pick up on this at all.
No, I didn't.
It was only when I was reading through because when I wrote my notes out, I write what I saw, then I go back through Wikipedia to see if I've missed anything. And apparently, this is meant to be
interesting. No, I didn't pick up on that at all.
But yeah, as
it was just one of the same attacks that we've seen. Throughout the episode.
But yeah, as you can tell, Mulder can't stab Mulder. It was a dream, and he wakes up in his apartment, and he gets up and leaves. We see him go to... he now goes to Mosto's building, drives up, and goes into the secret room. And he finds on the floor a pool of blood as the cat's licking some of it. He goes around the back and finds a severed arm. So not good.
Again, quite shocking that they put something like this on TV. Yeah, I don't know. Just this whole episode's really dark.
We go back and we see... Scully's apartment. She's got a message from Nemhauser, and he goes on to say that he just wants to call him back as soon as possible. So she does.
Well, it was quite a panicked message, wasn't it?
Yeah. She calls his number, and then we cut straight back to Mosto's room, and Mulder's there, and he has a phone ring. He goes to answer it, and immediately at this point you know what's happened with the severed arm, this, that, and the other.
He's dead.
Yeah. They go through all the hoo-ha of why are you answering Nemhauser's phone? It's da-da-da.
And then the most shocking scene of the episode.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, so just before we get to that, she explains about the missing evidence. He says he didn't take it, but he did look at it. Scully says she's going to come down there. She does do quite quickly.
She does. Yeah. He also says, "I wanted to feel what it felt like in my hand." And I just thought that was a weird line. I couldn't quite get to grips with Mulder going absolutely crazy in 2 days. You know what I mean?
We gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do, and it helped. It helped him, so he caught him.
He's looking around and he notices a gargoyle with no arms. He goes over to it straight away and peels the clay off the face, and we see a very cut up Nemhauser.
He has mutilated.
Yeah, he has his the sort of cuts on his mouth as well. And Mulder jumps around and we see that Patterson is standing right behind him. This is where Mulder figures out exactly what's happened.
Yeah.
Starts accusing Patterson of the killings. Patterson says that Mulder's gone nuts. And Mulder basically says, well, look at your hands. And we notice that Patterson has clay on his hands.
And am I right in saying that I don't think Patterson knew that he was doing it?
No.
And I like that aspect of it. The idea being he becomes so obsessed with this case, living the case for 3 years, that, well, and again, I'm sort of just taking over from you for a little bit.
No, that's fine.
Because he's lived the case for 3 years, that when he got put away, he couldn't put all that violence and all that horror behind him.
Yeah.
It had to go somewhere. So I think the indication is he suppressed it into this weird sort of split personality.
I guess so, yeah.
And he doesn't actually know, and that's why Mulder goes on to say that you called me in like the few moments that you was yourself. You called me because you wanted to save yourself. You wanted me to stop you. That's the idea, isn't it?
I think that's the point that you're meant to take away if you see it as this is just two crazed people. Yeah, I'd say definitely.
And I think that's the way I saw it was.
Yeah.
And I really like this. I like the fact that there was still a little bit of him inside himself that did respect Mulder, knew what he was good at, and he even does say to Scully, doesn't he, like halfway through the episode, just leave Mulder to do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Let him go and don't stop him. And when you look back at that, he's actually saying that to Scully because he wants Mulder to stop him.
Yeah.
Because he knows what, subconsciously, he knows what he's done.
Yeah.
I thought that was very clever, and I really did enjoy that little twist to it.
And again, you could take it as that, or you could take it at face value of maybe he was possessed and didn't realise this because he was possessed. It is completely up to the viewer on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Mulder thinks that, as you mentioned, he's become absorbed by the case. We get this big speech about the case.
It's Nemhauser. But you already knew that, didn't you? What is this? You killed him, Bill. When he suspected it was you. You killed him.
Are you out of your mind?
Not me. Not now.
Put that gun down.
Not until you tell me what you're doing here.
What I'm doing here?
Look at your hands. Now ask yourself what you're doing here.
I'm not sure.
You're here because John Mostow stole 3 years of your life. Every day and every night for 3 years, you lived and dreamed the horror show that was in his head, and I'm sorry. Imagining everything he imagined. Sinking deeper and deeper into the ugliness, just like you taught us to do. But when you finally caught him, it didn't just go away, all that violence. It stayed alive inside you. Until it had to come out, but you didn't want to do what you were doing. You wanted to stop, but you couldn't. Not by yourself. That's why you called on me in the first place. Why you couldn't kill me when you had the chance.
And at this point, Scully enters. She got there real quick, I thought.
Yeah.
She was on the phone like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And as she comes in, it distracts Mulder, and Bill makes a run for it. They head up onto the roof, and Mulder and Scully get separate to look for him. As Mulder's climbing around, Patterson jumps him. Tries to strangle Mulder, and we hear a gunshot. Scully runs over to find Mulder standing over Patterson.
Well, this is why I'm taking it as the rational side of things, because what actually jumps Mulder is this monster figure again.
Yeah.
And then when you see him throw this monster down, and then when you see him on the ground, it's actually Patterson again. And I think for me, that I'm going to take that, and again, it can be seen other ways, but I'm going to take that as it's more of a metaphor, this sort of monster figure. And that's when he's not himself.
Yeah.
When he's down on the ground, we realise it was Patterson all along.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, that works for the demonic story angle as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just like how interpretive it can be on this one.
Definitely.
We find that Bill is still alive, so they call him an ambulance. And then we finish off 8 weeks later. We see a cell, and we see Patterson in this cell. And he's screaming that he didn't do anything, that he's innocent. And the camera pans out and we see this gargoyle drawn with blood on the cell.
Yeah.
And then we get the closing speech from Mulder explaining about how they work in the dark, etc., etc. The end. What did you think of the episode?
I'm not going to lie, I was pretty down there.
Yeah.
Mostly for the reasons I've cited, which is Mulder and his really rapid deterioration. I think after talking about it, especially with some of your ideas behind it, I've actually come back up on it.
Yeah.
And I've sort of evened out. I by no means think it's one of the best episodes, but there was a lot more. There's a lot more I enjoyed than I didn't. So I quite enjoyed this one.
Yeah,
and especially like you say, I'm always going to look at the rational side of things.
Yeah.
That's the way my mind tends to work when I watch shows like this. But I really did I loved the idea of him not knowing he was the villain.
Yeah.
I really liked that, and then little sort of outbursts of his own subconscious almost calling for help.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I thought it was a really good Monster of the Week episode, to be honest. I actually really liked this. I like how dark it looked and felt as well. Like the story itself was quite, with some of the depths and stuff like that, was quite dark. As I mentioned, I liked that it can be open to interpretation. And I thought, to be honest, the star of the show was David Duchovny, who whether you... Because I know you weren't convinced on his fall to madness.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the acting of it was really well done.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. So
and that, I think I'd like to a little bit more of it.
Yeah.
Just to see that sort of
the
slide to that, you know what I mean? I think that would have made the episode a lot better for me.
Yeah.
But of course, you've got 45 minutes. What can you do?
Yeah. But overall, I really enjoyed this one.
Luke's production notes.
Grotesque was written by Howard Gordon, who conceived of the main story after he noticed stone gargoyles on a corner of a New York street he was walking down. The eeriness of the occurrence led Gordon to develop a tale involving possession by a gargoyle spirit.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Quite a simple sort of premise to write around, or a simple idea that was grown into something else.
I think when you've got to write 100 plus episodes of something, you've got to just start taking inspiration from whatever you can.
Yeah.
I'd right now, I'd be like, imagine if photos came to life.
That would probably make a good episode, actually.
There you go. Yeah. See, I'm literally the first thing I looked at.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make an episode about photos trapping people.
That sounds like, what was that, Goosebumps? Oh no, it's Say Cheese and Die. That's just where you die, innit?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't Say Cheese and Die. No, I don't remember that episode. I don't remember Goosebumps that well, to be honest.
No.
No.
I
remember
Goosebumps.
I had one on video, which was The Girl in the Mask.
I don't remember that one.
No, and then there's the famous one with the... What's below the basement or something like that?
Oh, something... Yeah, the mom and dad are keeping something in the basement.
Yeah, it's plant monsters or
whatever.
whatever.
That was it, yeah.
I do like the concept of Goosebumps, but I never...
Have you ever watched it since?
No, is it bad?
It doesn't hold up.
No, I can imagine
I went back and watched the Goosebumps episode because I remember vividly watching one. It was about this... Basically an evil superhero turns up at somebody's... They build this tower. This sounds like a mad dream.
Yeah.
They build this tower, and this two kids go into this tower, and it's just so weird. It's such a weird thing to watch. I was like, this isn't even scary. It's just it's really schlocky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as a kid, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
That's interesting. I'll have to go back and watch and see.
Talking of which, we might as well just keep going on a tangent train tonight. Have you seen the reboot of Are You Afraid of the Dark that they're doing?
No.
They're doing a rebooted TV show of that. I don't know if it's meant for adults, so it's going to be dark, or if it's meant for kids, so they're going for that PG rating. I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not sure.
That'll be interesting. I'll have to have a look into that.
Yeah, I don't. Apart from that, know nothing about it.
Yeah,
it's going to be good. Don't know what. Anyway, back to production notes. Gordon wrote a draft script for the episode, but the weekend before production began, he had to completely rework it with the help of series creator Chris Carter. During these few days, the two overhauled the script to add more psychological aspects to the episode. Gordon was very proud of the final product.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That's interesting.
I think if it was more straightforward, it was definitely a demon, I think there'd be a lot less interest in the episode.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I think it'd be a bit more of a 5 out of 10 rather than what it became into.
Yeah.
You know? The producers originally planned to film the opening scene at a Catholic hospital, but the hospital they were interested in did not want to affix a faux gargoyle to the building. Thus, the shot was relocated to Heritage Hall, a building that had been both a post office and a Royal Canadian Mounted Police office in the past.
You don't even think about like problems like that, do you? But yeah, interesting.
I like the next one in terms of like filming problems. At the last minute before filming, city workers began tearing up the sidewalk on the very spot where the producers planned to film the scene. They caused a panic. This caused a panic amongst the producers, but the construction crew assured the show that the construction would be completed before the show's scheduled shoot time, which it indeed was, with only 2 hours to spare.
Oh, wow. I bet you was sweating that day.
I know. They're just like looking at them,
waiting and catering.
Additional exterior shots were shot in an alley near Bonanza Meat Market, the walls of which were painted to match those of Heritage Hall. The episode was directed by Kim Manners, who cited it as his favourite third series episode and praised Duchovny's performance in the episode, saying Duchovny drove himself and he was brilliant in that show.
Yeah.
I always find it weird that they call episodes shows.
I've never noticed it, to be honest.
And in the last 2 bits of production notes, I've noticed that they'll refer to an episode as that show or something like that.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is weird.
I've never noticed. Yeah, that is strange.
Manners also said of the episode, I think Grotesque... it's good that I brought that up. I think Grotesque is a frightening show. I think it's a disturbing show. And I think that why, for me, it's such a good show. We pulled it off, making the viewer feel uneasy. I even found it a difficult show to watch. How many times are you going to say show in this? Yeah, it was a pretty dark hour of television, and I would like to do more of those.
It definitely sets it apart from the rest of the X-Files.
I did think, we didn't mention it in the rest of the episode, but yeah, because we've had 2, one comedy and one attempt at comedy episodes, I did feel like it was quite a stark difference.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It wasn't sort of like they tend to be quite dark anyway, or dark-ish, you know what I mean, like in terms of the subject matter. But it wasn't like, I don't know, one about a toaster or something like that. You know, like just something that's like, oh, this is quite dark, but not the case of a man mutilating people, you know what I mean? To get inspiration, Manners played the soundtrack to the film Jacob's Ladder on repeat until his wife finally asked, do we have to listen to that fucking CD again? You ever seen Jacob's Ladder?
I've not, now.
That's an interesting... They're remaking that.
I've not heard of it.
The trailer does not...
Who's it by?
The remake of the original.
The original?
I don't know. I know the guy who was in Shawshank Redemption was in it.
It's not like a Hitchcock or anything like that.
No. It's 1990.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's quite modernish.
Oh, okay.
It's what Silent Hill got a lot of inspiration from.
Okay.
But yeah, the original is like a lot of it is like implied, or is this happening? What's going on? And you don't see a lot of what's happening. The remake in the trailer, they start just putting a demon just jumps out of stuff, and it's like, oh, yeah, whoa, okay, well,
jump scares.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. They also, I don't know what I can say. There's a plot thread in the film, in the first one, that's very important, especially to the end. But it's not revealed for a while. In the trailer, they literally is like, when I came back. And it's like, what? It's like, it's just so like, it's just, I don't know. It's just,
Okay, interesting.
I'd recommend with that one. It's not
the original.
Yeah, what's the original? It's 1990.
Yeah,
it's not that old. Anyway, last piece. Man has also theorised that this episode may have inspired Carter when he eventually developed the show Millennium, which premiered on Fox the following TV season.
I've heard about Millennium.
Yeah.
I'm quite interested in Millennium. I know our favourite writer, Darren Morgan.
Yeah,
did a lot of episodes on Millennium.
From what I gather...
I don't know if it's any good or not.
No, I'm not sure. I know there's one episode that has a sort of crossover, I think, with X-Files.
Ooh, okay.
But I think the rest of the series is quite self-contained. And not related to it. But I think that's it.
I've not heard any buzz on it, which scares me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I do wonder if it's actually good or if it's like they're talking about it now because it's just tied in with the production.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Also, I don't know if I want to commit to another TV series when we've got...
Just yet, yeah. Good point.
Yeah. We'll see. If it's 6 episodes, cool.
Let's do it, yeah.
I don't think it is, though.
No.
I think it's like one of those 24 ones.
Yeah.
Maybe we just like sort of watch it and just summarise. Anyway, that's the end of production notes and the end of the episode, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to get in touch with the show, tweet, Facebook, Instagram. We haven't used that in a while, but we still use it. But yeah, if you want to get in touch on Instagram, you can do that as well. And anything really, all of the links are below.
Yeah, and to be honest, if you just search Most Unwanted Podcast, you'll find us.
Yeah. Also, if you're interested, check out our YouTube. All of our episodes go up on YouTube every week.
I always forget that we've got a YouTube.
Yeah. We have a YouTube that basically automatically just posts the episodes.
Yeah.
So they're all there. If you're ever, I don't know, your podcast app is on your phone, you don't have your phone. I don't know why you'd want to listen to us again, but maybe you will. You only have access to YouTube. All of our episodes, I think all.
I don't know whether it goes to episode 1.
Maybe not. Anyway, a lot of our episodes.
At least every episode from now on will be.
Yeah. So yeah, if you fancy watching on there, go for it. Do you know what episode we go back to?
Just having a look now. And we go back to beginning of season 2.
Beginning of season 2.
So we've not put season 1 up there. I'm sure we could do that at some point.
We can do, but if enough people ask for it, we will.
Yeah, but it's there for like if anyone can't access podcasts. For
basically, it's just nice to have another way out.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, next episode we'll be covering the episode titled Piper Maroon. No idea what this is about.
No,
not even a guess on this one. Maybe
Pied Piper.
Pied Piper, yeah. Maybe it's some kind of legend.
Maybe Piper Puaba.
Piper, what was that?
Wasn't she in Coyote Ugly?
I don't know.
I think that's the name, Piper Puaba.
Possibly, yeah. It sounds like a name.
Yeah.
Billy Piper.
Billy Piper.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doctor Who.
Any other famous Pipers we know of?
No, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm pretty done. I don't know any more Pipers.
But it's probably like one of them 3 things.
Probably. I would 100% it's got to be.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. So if we're wrong, well...
It's our reputation.
It's our reputation, yeah. But yeah, so we'll leave it on that note.
Yeah,
and any
on us being wrong.
Any final words? No, I'm not going to kill you or anything.
Oh, I hope not.
Grotesque style.
Shall we go out? What should we do?
Have you got a poem for us?
Ooh, no.
Good night.